Good morning, students. Welcome to online class 10 biology, lesson number 12. Students, we all know that we have a number of systems like the digestive system, excretory system, respiratory system, circulatory system. They are essential for us to remain alive, and they are known as life processes. Without them, one cannot survive. But there is one system in our body without which we can survive and live a normal, healthy life. Could you tell me the name of this system? Yes, it is the reproductive system. Before we study the system in human beings, let us know the meaning of the term reproduction. When we use the word reproduction, we means re and production. That is production of the same kind again. For example, if I teach you something today and I tell you that I want you to reproduce this tomorrow, I mean to tell you that you should be able to tell me what I have taught you today. This is what reproduction means. But in biological terms, reproduction is the process of producing young ones of its own kind by an organism. The need to reproduce by passing genes to the next generation is to ensure the survival of a population, and this is one of the basic features of all living organisms. Basically, reproduction is of two types. Let us know the meaning of these two terms, sexual and asexual. Sexual reproduction involves fusion of male and female gametes to form a zygote. When reproduction occurs without the formation of reproductive cells, it is known as asexual reproduction. Now let us see the different types of sexual and asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is of number of types. Binary fission. This is seen in amoeba and lower protozoans. Fragmentation, budding. You can see it in the figure hydra as well as yeast present here. Spore formation and vegetative propagation. Most of the plants are capable of reproducing with the help of vegetative propagation. Sexual reproduction is of two types. Direct. It is seen in vertebrates and even human beings that the young one born is similar to its parent, whereas in insects we find that the young ones are not similar to parents, hence it is known as indirect sexual reproduction. Today we are going to study the male reproductive system. The male reproductive system consists of the testes. They have the seminiferous tubules which produce sperms, that means carry out spermatogenesis, and interstitial cells that produce the male hormone called testosterone. Ducts. There are three ducts, main ducts present: epididymis, sperm duct or vas deferens or vasa deferentia, and ejaculatory duct. Accessory glands. There are three types of accessory glands: seminal vesicles, prostate glands, and Copper's gland. Supportive structure. Penis is the supportive structure and it is responsible for transfer of sperms. Now, let us see each structure in detail. Structure of the testes. Location. They are two in number and are located outside the abdominal cavity in a sac-like structure called the scrotum. The testes are actually, during the fetal stage, it is present in the abdominal cavity up to the 7th month. After the 7th month, they descend down into the scrotum or the scrotal sac through an opening which is known as the inguinal canal. If they fail to descend into the scrotum, then the sperms will not mature and the testes will degenerate, making the person sterile. If due to any reason whatsoever, the mouth of the inguinal canal, which is covered with connective tissue and muscles, invaginates, or due to the pressure of the abdominal cavity, then the intestine may enter into the scrotum, and this is known as inguinal hernia. Why do the testes descend down into the scrotal sac? Because the scrotal sac or the scrotum maintains a temperature which is 2 to 3 degrees lower than the temperature of the abdomen. This helps in the development of the sperms. This scrotal sac is capable of moving away from the body during the summer season to maintain this temperature and retracting towards the body during the winter time to maintain the temperature once again. The testes are enclosed within a capsule which is made up of dense fibrous tissue called tunica albuginea. The inner wall of the testes invaginate, forming a number of compartments called lobules. They are round about 250 to 300 compartments. These lobules contain a network or cluster of tubules called the seminiferous tubules. They produce sperms, or spermatogenesis takes place in the seminiferous tubules. Interstitial cells or Leydig cells, they lie between the coils of the seminiferous tubules and secrete the male hormone called testosterone. Let us now study the genital ducts. These are the ducts that are meant to carry the sperms produced in the seminiferous tubules out of the body. The genital ducts are epididymis. They are a pair of highly coiled tubules or tubes about 6 to 7 meters in length. They form a cap-like structure on the upper posterior side of the testes. Sperm produced in the seminiferous tubules are carried by the vasa efferentia to the epididymis. Here the sperms mature and are transported to the sperm duct or the vas deferens. The vas deferens, they are a pair of thin-walled tubes about 45 centimeters in length. Each sperm duct or vas deferens arises from the epididymis and enters into the abdominal cavity via the inguinal canal. It then joins a duct arising from the seminal vesicle to form the ejaculatory duct. The ejaculatory duct is a pair of small ducts which pass through the prostate gland and open into the urethra. Urethra. It is a thin tube which arises from the base of the urinary bladder and ends at the tip of the penis. It is a common passage for urine as well as sperms. Now let us see the accessory glands. There are 3 accessory glands in male reproductive system. Seminal vesicles. They are a pair of lobulated glands present between the posterior surface of the urinary bladder and the rectum. They produce a secretion which not only gives nutrition to the sperms but also acts a medium for transportation of the sperms. The vasa deferentia meets the seminal vesicle first and then joins to form the ejaculatory duct. Prostate gland. It is the bilobe structure which surrounds the mouth of the urinary bladder where the urethra arises. It secretes an alkaline fluid which helps in neutralization of the acidity of the female vagina. Bulbourethral gland or corpus gland. They are small ovoid glands which open into the urethra. Their secretion acts as a lubricant. Now let us study the structure of the sperm. Human sperm consists of 4 parts. Head. It is the enlarged part of the sperm. It contains the haploid nucleus. Haploid means having half the number of chromosomes. And the acrosome. Acrosome contains a fluid which contains digestive enzymes which helps to digest the wall of the ovum. Neck. It lies between the head and the middle piece. It is small and contains the centrioles. Middle piece. It lies below the neck and contains a spiral sheath of mitochondria. It provides energy for the movement of the sperm. Tail. It is a large whip-like structure. It helps in the movement of the sperm. Now let us see the path taken by the sperm from the time where it is produced to when it reaches outside. Sperms are produced in the seminiferous tubules. From here, they pass through a network of tubules and reach the efferent ducts, that is vasa efferentia. From the vasa efferentia, carry it to the epididymis. In the epididymis, they are stored and they mature, and then they are passed to the sperm duct or the vas deferens. The vas deferens carrying the sperm enters into the abdominal cavity and meets the secretion of the three ducts, that is the seminal vesicle, the prostate gland and the corpus gland, and enters into the urethra, from where it proceeds outside the body of the organism. With that, we finish the male reproductive system. In our next class, we will be studying the female reproductive system. Till then, thank you. Follow anti-COVID-19 norms of the government. Be happy, be safe, and God bless you all, children. Thank you.